so far to start the year, even after her nerfs. We're already seeing an Orianna lock-in for Shanks.
Yeah, and the Akali ban there as well, maybe a little bit indicating that they want to go for this Ori pickup. Typically the go-to, and both of these mid laners actually very highly prized for their Akali, so we'll see whether or not the Orianna is something that's going to end up working out quite nicely. I like the takeaway of the Jarvan, but by denying the Jarvan Ori combo, it means you've got that ability to maybe take in a mobile marksman. As JiaQi love, and looking at the power in these immobile marksmen at the minute, people definitely tending more toward, you know, your Ashes, that Seraphine pairing down on the bot side as well. Definitely something that I'm expecting to see come through. And with the Xin Zhao locked in, it's two very heavy skirmish junglers early on for both of these two. Tien going to have to try and make his mark up against Tarzan once again.
Flandre going to get the Renekton for himself on this top side. The tank player extraordinaire going to get something a little bit more aggressive against the young top laner of Top Esports. We'll see what Top Esports wants to give him, or if they want to kind of leave him to the second half of bans. They're going to lock in a Gnar from him. And, you know, Rudu, this is a guy who, not really known as a carry player, mostly a tank-only player, is where he's made most of his hay. And, you know, Gnar is a bit of a hybrid champion, where in lane he can be a little bit carry-ish, but later on you want to be a little bit more tank.
Yeah, and I mean, for Zuyan here, I think it's about making sure that he finds a good matchup more so than anything. Obviously got quite exploited in game number 2 yesterday, so maybe trying to keep him safe, keep him comfortable is the ideal for Top Esports here. As for anyone's legend, obviously they find themselves what is a very strong core on that top side. The thing they're missing right now is just that hyper carry to go into the late game with, more so than anything else. They've got a really good amount of setup, they've got a lot of early game and mid game damage. They're now waiting for Hope to be that big carry in the backline and see what it is that he can do. Obviously going to get his hands most likely on that answer, that counter pick, as Top Esports get their first pick of any of that bot lane litter.
They're going to split up the Ashe Seraphine combo. We'll see if AL want to try and take away the Ashe and pair it up with something else, or if they want to go with a strong combination that they feel confident in themselves. Lulu Yunara are still available on the table. We see a lot of cycling coming through, and it looks like it will be that Lulu Yunara combo.
And that's what we want. We're looking for this sort of hyper carry style, where you've got that big ticket damage that can pump out DPS in the late game for anyone's legend. Top Esports, much the same sort of thing here, but I do value Seraphine just that little bit more than Lulu. When I look at the compositions that we have on the board, Lulu's really good when there's an individual diver who wants to cause chaos and gets interrupted quite heavily by Polymorph. Seraphine, one of these champions that can make these team fights stay the course. They can extend out these team fights with those double Ws, making sure that you're getting so much healing, and that encore as well can fluctuate really nicely between all of the members of anyone's legend if Fengyue is there ready with the angle.
So we talk a lot about the three-man game with Ashe, Seraphine, and Xin. Typically, those are the champions that get paired up with each other. We're going to have Jarvan in the place of that Xin Zhao for the side of Top Esports. Dude, how do you think the team fighting and the skirmishing is going to be different when you've got a Jarvan compared to a Xin with this combination?
Honestly, the difference isn't all that great. Both of these junglers do largely the same thing. I would say that a Jarvan makes Seraphine's life a little bit easier because landing your skill shots, they're just sort of wedged in a little bowl there, so there's not too much wiggle room for the carries. Provided they don't have flash, you'd like to think that the Yunara, the Lulu, are going to be quite easy to lock down. Now, obviously, when Yunara's got the ulti, she gains access to a dash, so she can get out of that cataclysm as well. But you'd like to think that that Seraphine ulti being layered on top of the Jarvan should be a recipe for success.
All right, we'll see if the recipe comes out great or if we need to get off TikTok recipes. As game 1 of this best of 3 series starts now.
Not gonna lie, Yanni, I was really worried there for a minute.
I was too, but it appears that we've moved the microphone. So the JiaQis ring a little bit more true. So, first thing I want to talk about on the docket here, Rude, is JiaQi and Fengyue getting a matchup that seems to be a little bit more favored for them this time around compared to yesterday's first game when they played Jin Bard into this comp.
Yeah, they obviously struggled quite heavily, I think, in games 1 and 2 yesterday, to be honest. JiaQi ending the series with a 0.5 KDA, not just KD, KDA, so that's a real blow for him. A sort of valiant return to the LPL that people are going to want to forget, and he himself is going to want to forget. But now with this very powerful bot lane 2 versus 2, you'd like to think that they can at the very least stay the course of this early game that a little bit better. Make sure that Hope and Kael are feeling the pressure here of this Ashe and Seraphine. With both of our junglers making their way down to this bot side as well, lots of opportunity for action. Need to see that ward go down nice and early from Fengyue, most likely, to make sure that there's a little bit of safety there. Obviously they are playing Ashe. Hawkshot is an ability. He's got one of those scaled in his kit already, so took the E level 2, so he's going to have the opportunity to scout out and hopefully pair this up nicely with TN as well.
Perfect timing. Tarzan has been spotted out on that Gromp. No surprise, it was not entirely unexpected. So we'll see how TN wants to work with that information. Recall that for both of these teams yesterday, a lot of early game plays made by the junglers and the supports. I imagine it's going to be a little bit harder for Kael this time around, as we're seeing TN move in here. This is the TN special. Get in the face of your opponent and try and steal something away. Who's got the better smite for the moment? Already, Fengyue trying to find a way in. Hope taking a lot of damage. He'll going to get burnt. The TS bot lane has to walk away. TN took away the blue buff. Now the question is, can he escape? Shanks teleports in as he's got to level up on Creme, and Creme is quite low. Fengyue getting slowed. He's forced to flash over the wall, but the pursuit continues. Flag and drag away means that top esports make the heist happen.
I wonder if this then costs TN his Krugs down on the bot side, since we know Tarzan is going to have counted those creeps, know exactly what it is that the Jarvan is missing. So he might walk into the try here, try and take out those Krugs and sort of trade and make sure that the camps overall stay even. He's just going to have to try and play without that blue himself. Even trade on crabs, so overall it's an even trade on experience. It is just that little bit of a advantage going over to TN in terms of the blue buff. But now in this mid lane, Creme still hasn't recalled, but Shanks has no TP, so a big chunk here going to be pretty detrimental.
And his flash is still up. He's trying to sidestep around TN here. I like the thought here. Big damage coming through as well. Meanwhile, on the top side, JiaQi, he gets engaged on by Flandre. He slices, he dices, he's dead. It's first blood for the rookie JiaQi.
And that's what we needed from him after a really tricky day. Number 1 comes in, counter picks on the Gnar, finds the solo kill up against Flandre. Massive performance from JiaQi in game number 1. First blood for top esports.
We love that, especially with what was happening elsewhere. You know, what happened in the jungle was not without cost. Let's take a look at this replay.
He's just spacing Flandre here, using those hyperprocs really nicely, and Flandre a little bit too late by the time he decides he needs to go in, hoping to use this brush for vision. Can't quite make it work. JiaQi has to use his own flash to get back into the brush to make sure that there's a nice opportunity to find that kill. So you can see with the bone plating, the plated steel caps as well, JiaQi on this top side should be feeling very safe, and especially up against a double AD top side in the Renekton, in the Xin Zhao. You'd like to think that he will be nice and safe for the remainder of this early game.
And sometimes, Rudu, that's just the cost of warding your top side. You don't get to use it for a skirmish. Now, JiaQi wants a little bit more. He's going to use that Gnar ultimate, get a stun off, and really take it to Flandre here. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Dragon has spawned. We are seeing both junglers head down to the bottom side now. Maybe we'll get a little bit of fireworks, although there's no level 6s on the bot lane. So hold on, JiaQi.
Just looking for the Dominus proc here, and Flandre holds his nerve, doesn't use it. TN now makes his way down to the bot side, can help clear out this control ward and actually keep that pixel brush with a ward in it, which will help the Ashe and Seraphine lane. And they are doing pretty well down on that bot side so far as well. Flandre looking to just clear out this wave. He uses his Dominus to do it, but sort of eliminates any threat that JiaQi had. As the mini Gnar here should be able to push this wave in nice and quickly. Hopefully Flandre misses out on 1, maybe 2 minions as that happens. Stepanar's going to stop the recall instead. Tarzan makes his way down to this bot side. Bot lane so far for JiaQi Love going nicely.
Oh, serves him right up. That is a flash down for Shanks. Nice play there from Creme. We'll see what the response is by Tarzan because the shockwave goes down. Shanks wants to extend this fight, and here comes Tarzan. Level 5 apiece on both these junglers. He tags up Creme, but he's down to half HP, and the Sand Soldiers are putting in work, the shield, to get him out. And so far, Top Esports has taken it to AL everywhere. Kael, next man up, trying to make a play because Creme doesn't have a lot of mana, but he'll head back to the turret.
And I mean, there, if Kael isn't roaming, it's another win for Top Esports. They're getting pinged away. There are danger pings on the minimap saying Lulu's roaming. You can't actually commit to this 2v2. I think if that wasn't there, Creme and TN probably win out on that one as well. Small lead in the mid lane for Shanks on this Orianna. Obviously, just having his flash burned isn't going to bode all that well for him. So we'd need to see a revisit into that mid lane from Creme, from TN. Let's make sure that we're punishing this Orianna who now has no flash. And maybe just even the disadvantage of not having that summoner spell will be the difference maker and turn that lane slightly back into the favour of Creme.
Grub's up in about 45 seconds, and you know you want to pick them up for not only your Azir, but also your Gnar that's been doing a pretty good job so far. The word with Flandre has kind of been adapt or die. Play these meta picks, or, you know, you have to get really, really creative. And so far, this Renekton, while he does have a small CS lead, has been not having the intended effect. That said, we are going to see a recall come through for Tarzan. Thought that maybe he was going to try and make his way in.
And obviously for Top Esports here, they pulled together 3 new pieces coming into split number 2 after what was ultimately a disappointing split 1. And then had a really, really difficult start to the split. I mean, outside of TN, who we feel like had a pretty good showing in that first series, they've got some reparations to do in this game to try and make sure that their name isn't just going to be fodder throughout the remainder of split 2, much like it felt like in split number 1. And so far to start out this game, a 600 gold lead. Leads coming in that bot side, solo kill in the top lane. They're doing quite well, but as this game gets later, you pose the question, how well does it get? Or how easy is it for them to play these late game team fights? And I'm actually not too worried for them at all. I think Seraphine scales incredibly well into the late game. I think that this Northern combo with an Azir on the top of it is going to look very nice. They've got a load of consistent DPS. They've got the setup from the Ashe and the Seraphine. I think the fact that AL are at least finding some semblance of a lead at this stage is a bit of a worry for them.
I agree. Not as much CC on the side of AL, but they can scrap with the best of them, so that is something to keep in mind. Tien's going to head up to this top side and start going after these grubs. No surprise there. We'll see if anyone's legend can get there for any of them, but it looks like Tarzan will head down to the bottom side and look to trade the objective. So I think this is a big win for Top Esports.
Just keeping our eyes out for these objectives. Obviously the grub's being taken by Tien, as you'd mentioned, and it is actually going to be traded by Tarzan, which does feel quite nice. Both of our marksmen working towards that Kraken Slayer. In particular, the Ashe is the one that I want to keep an eye on, especially with the love of Hex Optics in the current day and age. Good to see that we've got some Krakens as well, as Hope just goes for a little bit of a trade there.
Well, it's to facilitate a dive. A dive's happening up top. When they get the kill successfully, Tien gets as we'll see if AL can respond in kind. JiaQi Love all the way back as Fengyue is left alone on an island. He does have his ultimate. JiaQi Love lying in wait. Here comes the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Who's tanking it up? It's Kael. They're going to try to move around, and Tarzan will flash in and knock JiaQi Love away. He's forced to flash as Hope takes a couple of turret shots. It came at a cost, but it's a successful dive for AL.
Yeah, really good timing from anyone's legend and really good juggling of the aggro as well. Kael steps in. He still has wild growth available. Maybe Thing 6 off of the play, but would have been able to use that in the interim had there been any problems. This is that visit to the mid lane, though.
Yep, let's do it again. Shanks flashes up. Cataclysm is down for Tien. Shockwave lands, taking Creme down to about 30-ish% HP, but nothing more will be had, so things getting a little quiet after that early scuffle, and it's got to be sad for Top Esports to use both of their ultimates in the bottom lane on their first play and not get anything for it.
It does, and a little bit of a missed opportunity in the mid lane, waiting so long to try and get a play back in your favour. But, and you know, with the flash down on the Ori, we were expecting to maybe see something come through and punish Shanks for not having that summoner spell, as Creme takes a really good trade in exchange for some proccing of that overgrowth in the turrets. He's going to recall, it looks like, try and get back out onto the map, and obviously in 26 you can just move out onto the map so quickly, using those home guards to get out of the base. Top Esports with a nice lead early on, 700 gold, 800 as we see Drake spawning in about 3 minutes time. That's going to be the next point of contention, it feels like, as neither of these sides have particularly found a massive advantage just yet.
Not yet, but who does that favor? Because you have got the late game scaling of Inara, but you also have the late game scaling of this Azir. And, you know, Creme has been one of the better players on this top esports team. In fact, the best player by letter of the law when it comes to all pros, at least in Split 1. We'll hold that thought for a moment as Tarzan will sniff out TN's potential invade. But who do you like in terms of champion head-to-head here?
I'm just a really big fan of the late game of top esports. I think whenever you look at a Seraphine composition, I'm always itching to give that the edge. It just feels much nicer to play. Xin Zhao as well as a champion doesn't quite have the same utility as a Jarvan does in the late game. Like, if a Xin Zhao's behind in the late game, he goes in, he dies, and might do a little bit of damage or buy a little bit of space, but if a Jarvan's behind, he can still Cataclysm an Orianna, he can still Cataclysm a Lulu, and still have that little bit of effectiveness in that sense.
Zwayan going mega here, has an opportunity, pushes Flandre away from the turret. Flandre going to heal up a little bit. Zwayan going to go pick up his rock, and he's going to keep rocking it on Flandre for now. They're both stunned and staring at each other. And the flash from Flandre, but the rock is too much to handle. Zwayan gets another solo kill.
Yeah, and you can see the idea from Flandre here, but he's down 0-3. Creme's going to be able to shuffle his way out of there. But for the Renekton, still a close fight, even though Zwayan landed everything. If the Gnar misses just one of those boulders, maybe the Renekton can buy enough space to get more Fury, to get another cycle of those cooldowns. Unfortunately, it just wasn't the case this time round. Zwayan landing every single toss. And that's the real difference maker here. If you land those skill shots, especially as the Gnar, you do so much more damage here. Procs the Hyper twice, gets Flandre down to about half HP. Third proc comes through as he then transforms into Mega. And then here we go, one boulder, connects. Flandre, you can see constantly stepping, trying to dodge. Another boulder, connects, hits the wallop as well. Yes, we see Flandre flash out of the jump, but you've not dodged any of the large skill shots. 4 boulders connected. If you flash any one of those, Zwayan has to walk to Narnia to pick it up, and then maybe you can win the fight.
Zwayan on his Gnar doing his best Talia cosplay. Throw another rock and another and another. 25 seconds until this next dragon is up. We'll see if top esports with their slight advantage want to go for it. Zwayan does have his TP available. Flandre's is still down for the moment. With that flash up too, you can make some really nice Gnar plays in some of these team fights.
Screaming trouble? No, he's not. He's able to just walk his way out to safety. 4 seconds on the dragon, and Zwayan here with, I mean, effectively a solo turret here. Very little jungle interference, if any at all. We'll see if they want to try and make a play happen down on this bot side as the 4v4 slightly favourable for AL, looking at the difference in AD carries.
He's got no Narvar. The engage is great. Good ultimate from Fengyue. Zwayan's here. He's got his big shield. Flandre joins late. Dragon secured for top esports as TN is in the back, and he goes down. Zwayan trying to get Mega. He needs Mega, and he gets the stun off, and he stuns the Orianna. Shanks has to flash, and the polymorph is there. Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands flush on Kael as Fengyue and the rest of the squad will be able to lock him up too. Top esports win a big fight.
Yeah, JiaQi from downtown secures a third there, but it is Zwayan in this game that is running it. He runs absolutely wild in that fight and manages to find a double Gnar. And then the really important part of this is his actual target selection is incredible. Manages to find a couple of plates down on this bot side. He's now 2,600 gold up over Flandre. AL control this dragon to begin with, trying to buy space. But look at the ulti from Fengyue. Catches Hope out, he doesn't flash out, gets hit by a root after the fact, and then has to flash barrier out, can't do any damage after this. And then it's all about the TP in. It's all about how well this Gnar is able to run the roost. Is he able to take down Hope as Mini Gnar transforms, catches two, does end up falling in the picture-in-picture. Not ideal there, but it's because his team are getting Rift Herald. Obviously the arrow landing and Shanks being forced to flash as well. This Gnar having a massive performance outside of what was an ultimately overstay.
And really underrated move there was going after Hope, not only the proper target, but because he had no Narbar, that's how he stacked up his Narbar away from everybody else so he doesn't immediately get blown up. By the time he's able to get in the fight, second or two later, he's got it and he's ready to go. Rift Herald in the back pocket of top esports now, as they might be looking to make a play on this top side to shovel more gold into Creme. In the meanwhile, Shanks on the bottom side is going to be able to take bot tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not too worried about this. For top esports, they're ahead with a composition that, for my money, scales better. And we're really looking at these carries of anyone's legend and saying, can they put these leads to good use? Shanks and Hope both actually find themselves with gold advantages in the current state of the game. Whether or not they can turn this into an actual game victory, of course, remains to be seen. There is a massive disparity in top laners, and JiaQi is going to be able to come back out of that top lane with a force that might not be able to be dealt with.
Second charge of the Herald goes off as TN goes in on Tarzan, and Tarzan will respond in kind. No further fighting here. It was an interesting choice to immediately drop that Herald, especially with the tools that you have for picks. I think they would have been a little bit more patient, but they get the gold regardless, as JiaQi takes a bot tier 1 on top of it.
Yeah, I think the hope is now that he learns from his mistake, right? You overstayed one time, you got caught out, you got picked off. Now don't let that happen again. If it happens a second time, that then really just sort of alleviates all of the pressure that you would be able to put out in that side lane and makes you a bit of a sticking point for the top esports composition. The one death was forgivable because his team are getting Herald on the top side. You could argue, doesn't need to have died there, could have backed off, but his team gets something for his life, which is important. Like you say, they used the Rift Herald nice and early, and it does mean that actually they've got all of the outer turrets now secured, and they're going to have to try and work their way through those inners as well. And I think this is when we're going to look to Swian as that player, or Swian rather, to see if he can break it open. He's the one with the massive advantage in the side lane, so he's going to need to be the one who's finding those plays and looking to extend this game.
Yeah, and it's so nice to see that he's the one that is really built a nice lead for himself. He's up nearly 3,000 gold. Again, yesterday, his Galio performance was rather muted. He did not play very well on the Jace into Breathes Cassante, lost multiple 1v1s, and we knew that today was going to be a challenge for him against Flandre, who has been one of the better top laners in the league for the last, year and some change now. On the All-Pro team on top of it was your first team All-Pro as well. So I'm very surprised to see this, but pleasantly surprised. We'll see if top esports are able to keep it up with this large lead that they have, dragging up in 25 seconds. We just got to get JiaQi some Narbar as Creme pushes on the top side.
Yeah, 2 items here for Shanks, 2 items for Hope. This is a really good break point, and maybe the best one that anyone's legend are going to be able to hit in this game. When you've got those Fiend Hunter bolts, when you've got the Shadow Flame picked up, that's actually a large amount of damage in the back pockets of these 2 carries. Now, it's going to be a trade currently. Tier 1 in the mid lane for maybe Tier 2 in that top side, but Shanks TPs. It's going to be a response here, TP in from Creme as well. Top esports have started this.
Arrow lands onto the Lulu. JiaQi pushed away, but they're going to go looking for Tarzan. JiaQi! Hit! 4 of them! Big stun, but they don't have a lot of damage. He gets Shockwave in. Creme's ultimate is dodged by everybody, and now Flandre's on top of JiaQi Love. Meanwhile, on the backside of the fight, Creme will fall in the face of Tarzan as TN drops his Cataclysm down, but I don't think he has enough to be able to deal with these. He's got to flash away and flag and drag his way out. Fengyue is now going to be the next target, and with Flandre sticking on him, AL may have lost the dragon, but they are certainly back in this game.
Yeah, the execution here from top esports, seriously letting them down. All of the leads in the world won't help you if you fire your ults the wrong direction. And unfortunately for JiaQi, he's had such a good game. That ulti, unfortunately, cost his team that fight. A good start here for Top Esports. They find the dragon, but they know they're ahead. They want to try and find the fight. Swayon here knocks them all away from the encore. So it just lands onto Tarzan. Hope's able to get back in and dish out some good damage. And then Creme does go in, actually gets the scoop onto Hope despite his flash out. And then does his best to try and get damage down, but unfortunately, with no cooldowns available, with no carries really there to help you out, Shanks, Tarzan, this two-man band of the mid-jungle of anyone's legend, they were able to mop up that fight.
That's so unfortunate, Rudude, because it's one of those moments that, as an R, you're like, I can send multiple people into the wall and hit 4 people. This is great. Why wouldn't I ult here? And then it's like, well, you know, Seraphine Encore does nothing. Unfortunate. We'll see if Top Esports can dust themselves off that, and we can see a little bit more synergy between Swayon and Fengyue. On the side of AL, a huge infusion into them. Now just a 500 gold deficit, essentially meaningless.
It's more about where those deficits and advantages are. Again, small advantage in the mid lane for Shanks, but it's again Hope who finds himself with a decent advantage in that marksman role. Now, currently, it equates to the difference of the AD in a pickaxe and a BF sword, but eventually, at some stage here, it's likely to equate to when one of them has Infinity Edge and the other one does not. That's going to be a really important breakpoint, and one that, once again, you'd like to think that anyone's legend will look to fight on, as opposed to just sit, rest on their laurels and not really do anything with it. You can see Top Esports are the ones still looking to push this. Swayon in that side lane still does win this 1v1 very handily, might we add as well. He's even felt confident enough to go back into some magic resist on his 3rd item instead of looking to itemize for this 1v1.
We're going to fight over the red buff. Teleport coming in from behind. Swayon has his as well. Tarzan's going to go in. Encore's only going to hit 1, but Flandre manages to get the key targets. Knockup is there. JiaQi Love is dead. The shockwave hits nobody, but it's because they're all gone. And now anyone's legend is going to set their sights on the Baron.
And why wouldn't they? They've just found 2 quick picks. The bot lane of Top Esports overextending once again. And that's going to cost them the Baron. And that's going to cost Swayon all of his time in that side lane. He's got until this Baron falls to be able to find any sort of advantage in the side. He might find this tier 2 turret. But outside of that, pushing up against a Baron, not going to be possible. Unless Tien could find his way in here, is unsuccessful in that venture. It's a Baron picked up for anyone's legend. Now they're the ones that need to push this. Again, this is a composition for AL that it works late game, but I don't know if it works well enough to beat out what a Echoes of Helia Diadem Seraphine can do in the face of an Azir as well.
Well, Rudude, we might just find out. 1 minute and 10 seconds until this next dragon is up. AL have a gold lead, and now it's time for them to try and get control of the map with this Baron. Seeing things getting a little tough for the side of Top Esports, because that Infinity Edge is done on Hope, but it's small synergy things. You and I talked about it before we got on, and a little bit when we were on the broadcast earlier, that, you know, things for Top Esports going to take a little bit of time to coalesce and come together. In a situation like that, they have to know that, hey, Swayon's Mega just got down split pushing. You can't be close enough where a fight can start, or else he can't show up.
And it's about those little bits of synergy and whether or not Top Esports can find them come the end of this game. And maybe then they can put themselves back into control of this one. But look at that mid lane again. JiaQi Love, why are we so far forward?
It's the JiaQi Love special. Everybody else is here though, and that's a problem for Flandre. He will fall. Tarzan gonna be the next target, but everything's all topsy-turvy. It's a dodged ultimate, but they still manage to find Tarzan after a trade. Shockwave lands onto 2. Tien's Cataclysm doesn't land, and the rest of anyone's legend is just too strong. Hope and Shanks putting in work.
Yeah, Zwayon's TP comes in a little too late. He doesn't have the Mega Narbar to make an impact even when he lands. And this 3-man band now of anyone's legend going to use that Baron hopefully to lay some really big structural damage down to the base of Top Esports. Zwayon here with a good little bit of chunk there onto Shanks. Might try and make a bit of a play happen, but he is all on his own. I might think that he just graciously gives this up. Try not to get too poked out. Overall, though, I mean, for Top Esports, that's not too bad. That's probably the worst thing that happens now with this Baron. With 40 seconds left, recalls are going to come through, spend that gold. And I think that if you lose Baron in a situation like that, and all you lose is a mid lane tier 2, you're probably quite happy to take that. Now, this looks like JiaQi is too far up. In his head here, he knows he's got TN in his pocket. He knows Fengyue is here. And you can see the healing that's coming through from the echoes of Helia, right? Like, that is insane amounts of damage that he's getting healed back up for. But Tarzan, like a heat-seeking missile, takes out JiaQi. And as soon as the Ashe is down, Hope knows that it's open season on the rest of top esports. Flashes, or dashes in rather, still has his flash ready, and is more than happy to dish out whatever damage he may well can.
And when these encores are not landing, the fights are not looking good for top esports. 4th dragon to the game, 2nd for AL, secured for them. And for the moment, JiaQi is waiting on that Infinity Edge. In fact, he just recalled, so it's likely up now in his inventory. Situation where he didn't have it before, so you can't fight without it. And we'll see with this increased power of JiaQi if he is able to start being the carry that we all know and love. Your favorite AD carry's favorite AD carry type of player. He is yet to really have that large impact. Again, we are just into his 2nd game of the season.
$1,500 gold, the advantage here for anyone's legend. Large majority of that focused on those marksmen once again. Currently, it's amounting to just having a QSS in your back pocket for Hope, but at the minute, Zwayan hasn't been able to push that lead as much as we might have liked. Opted into the Wit's End as a 3rd item here to try and be able to punish on that side lane that little bit more effectively, maybe even lane a little bit more against Shanks. Fengyue!
Uh-oh, oh no, Fengyue,
who was the saboteur?
A critical error there. Not his fault, maybe, we'll see, but I'm sure we'll get a replay on that. For the moment,
somebody hit a cone.
Have a man advantage.
Yeah, somebody hit a cone that they really ought not to have. Now, fortunately, it's not going to come at a time when a neutral objective can be taken. So the dragon, for example, the Baron spawns in a minute. Let's see, who was it? Oh.
All right, we're still waiting.
Ah, there it is.
No!
There it is.
JiaQi, how could you?
Now, in fairness, he probably didn't mean to. I've done that a lot where I'm walking backwards and I accidentally hit a cone that I'm not looking at. However, yeah, JiaQi has sent his support there immediately to death.
Just trying to increase that 0.5 KDA that he had from yesterday. So that one's not going to go on the ledger, but it will remain in our hearts. This did allow some time for AL to get some vision down, and while a lot of it has been cleared out of the top esports jungle, there is still a lot littered around near the Baron pit, because Baron is coming up in 25 seconds. We need to see somebody step up, and now I am looking toward Creme. He's farmed up pretty well. He has got his Rabadon's death cap. No Zhonya's, so he's going to have to be on his A game, but with his flash available, might just be able to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a one-way trip if he goes in here. There's this constant thing with Azir that I quite like to talk about as we see the arrow going wide there onto Shanks. Is that at a certain point in the game, the Azir needs to prioritize being a DPS threat more so than going for that big scoop, and we're at that point now, right? You've got Nash's Tooth, Shadow Flame, Rabadon's Death Cap. You are the DPS for your squad. The tier 3 boots as well, looking real good.
No! There's that shockwave. Creme has to get out. Encore lands on the multiple members. TN, Guardian Angel, Tarzan getting knocked away, but the flash is there. Creme's still alive, still trying to DPS, but the health bars are a little low. Meanwhile, down on that bottom side, Zwayan got knocked away by Flandre, and the Baron will be started up by anyone's legend, just outlasting top esports in these fights.
Yeah, both of these junglers with Guardian Angel. Tarzan's doesn't even get popped there. Hope barely able to limp out of that Cataclysm. There was some good damage down coming from Creme, but he was able to flash out just in time. Second Baron now picked up, and top esports really starting to feel that slight wallet diff. If we look at the gold lead currently, it's about 4k in favour of anyone's legend. If we look at it without the top lane, it's more like 6,000 gold.
It was a really nice picture-in-picture there. We've seen Flandre with some questionable flashes after Zweon, but that one, no question about it, was a solid one. 40 seconds until this next objective is up. Top Esports need to understand their conditions a little bit better at times. Need to watch out for the Orianna ball on the floor. See a root come through here. Fengyue cannot die here.
Shanks hitting some really big shockwaves as well to start off these fights. Zweon
got knocked up, flashes, but he gets shockwave, and he's blown up. Cataclysm down, but Hope's able to slide out, and he is just fine. AL take 2 more.
And I hate to be that guy here, Yanni, but let's look at the minimap. That was a 4v5. Flandre was not a part of this. Zweon went in, no Narbar, got picked off. Hope as well, able to pop Transcended, and just skates out of the Cataclysm. The synergy just not quite there for Top Esports, and their ability to take these fights in these tricky little corridors just not present.
Yeah, Flandre shows up out of nowhere. Crocodile in your base. As he pushed in that bottom side, teleport's going to be coming in from Shanks. As Flandre wants a little bit more. Big roots are coming out. Big damage from JiaQi. Love for the encore. Doesn't land on anybody. Guardian Angel pop. But Shanks is going to lead the charge here, looking for that shockwave that might end the game. Bottom inhibitor will fall. AL will fall out of the base and head to the dragon.
That's one inhibitor down. Overlap on that, not quite going to be as nice with Baron as they might like. And this isn't a soul that they're retreating to, but for anyone's legend, feels like a formality here that they should take game number 1. After a really strong start for Top Esports, largely actually coming from that top side. Zweon started this game 3-0-2, however has not been able to really push the envelope in that side lane. Great recovery from Flandre as he's been able to stave off the aggression of the Gnar.
Yeah, and it feels like he's still been getting the better of Flandre at times as Fengyue is forced to flash away and a teleport is coming in from Flandre on that top side. This could be trouble if AL want to go find more, but with no shockwave available, it's a bit questionable, but they will go full court pressing.
And they do make it out. Obviously with the Baron now about to wear off, they've got 20 seconds left, so this wave is about all they're going to be able to get to do with it. They've got 2 cannons.
Alright, we're going to look for Shanks. Zweon trying to get
Kael.
close, but he can't with the hop. They find
Hope.
That's huge! Flandre trying to cause some problems, but JiaQi's got the DPS now. Zweon is still alive. They're going to look for more targets. Tarzan trying to walk up with the Cataclysm, lands on the 2 critical members. Now it's Tarzan. He's got nowhere to go. He's walking in front of the base as Zweon is looking to catch him and go after him. Tarzan using that ultimate to knock people away, but here comes Tien. Flag and drag, smite for the slow, but he's going to tag up the chickens and be able to escape. Top Esports defend their turf.
And it is just like a magic trick here from Top Esports. It's a looky over here at the arrow that we've landed into an immediate collapse onto the marksman. Hope with no flash gets picked out. So let's look at this. Arrow from JiaQi lands onto Shanks. Kael flashes over the wall to abandon Hope. And then look at Tien here. Spots this and decides, actually, we just hit Hope.
You can see the moment where they all decided, guys, we can kill Hope. And you saw that damage that Hope did. A couple of those empowered autos took JiaQi to below half HP. So when you can find him, you gotta take him out. Really well executed there by Top Esports. Still a lot of work to do, but they finally feel like they have a lifeline in this game after that dragon fight so many minutes ago.
Yeah, that was, I mean, if you're looking at that from Hope's perspective, you're thinking, why did my support flash away from me there? I could have 1v5'd. Obviously, Kael, he's flashing into Mikhail's Izori, keep his mid laner alive as well. So, you know, looking at it from both sides, you can understand the logic. But Top Esports have still got such a mountain to climb. To be able to replicate that is going to be a job in and of itself. You just don't know. It just doesn't feel like that would be possible. The odds of Hope being left alone like that again just feel so low here. 1 minute left on that Baron spawning. It would be a 3rd Baron if anyone's legend were able to get it. And you'd like to think that that would be enough, but you just never know here in the LPL what these teams are capable of.
Usually it takes 2, and the 2nd Baron wasn't enough. for Top Esports, this just gives them more chances, right? They're not out of the game. They still have an opportunity. And you know what? There are no moral victories. Either you win or you lose. But I want to give Top Esports a lot of credit because they've looked a lot better in this first game here today than they did yesterday already. Meanwhile, for AL, we saw them have trouble in their second game and a couple of moments in the first game against Weibo Gaming. This time around, they were just down early, very uncharacteristic of them, but have rebounded quite nicely. We'll see if Kael will be stuck together with Hope like glue this time around, because Hope's got all the summoners.
Shanks with no flash for another minute could be the big ticket.
There
we go.
Flashes in, teleport to the backside, but JiaQi gets engaged on. There's the stuns. Encore! Hit 4! Time to turn the fight! JiaQi autoing, rifling away! All they needed was a chance, Rude Dude! They are gonna ace anyone's legend, and they're gonna go win game 1!
GG, baby! Top Esports just destroyed anyone's legend in a team fight in the mid lane. It took them 37 minutes to find it. But Fengyue finds the encore, finds the fight, and finds game 1.
We said they had a chance. We said they land these encores. The fights look a lot better. That fight looked damn good. Game 1 to Top Esports.
And just like that here, anyone's legend honestly toss away game number 1. A really desynced engage, one that wasn't particularly on the right targets. They missed the shockwave combo, and they weren't able to actually find anything in that initial engage, which just means that the second that encore comes on through, it's just an absolute wipe. The fact that it lands flush on 4 or 5 members there is absolutely beautiful. And Top Esports there with just one good team fight take anyone's legend down.
And it's so crazy that it looks like the moment that Kael flashed over the wall when Shanks got stunned may have sealed the fate of anyone's legends, because that fight, had that fight gone differently, I mean, I think we're probably at break already, you know, waiting for game 2 and talking about what Top Esports can do to rebound. But now, I mean, anyone's legend, they just have to play a little bit more of a stable early game. I mean, Tien, once again, had such a profound impact on this game.
Again, like you say, he was forcing flashes out of crucial targets with those cataclysms. I was a little bit questioning rather, why we didn't get to see so many of those return ganks or any visits back to the scenes of the crime, let's say. But on the Jarvan, did his job, was quite serviceable, I think, for me here. Honestly, the fact that Fengyue finds that ulti in the final part is the big haymaker for me here. Yeah, gets a really good ulti, and as the Seraphine is able to just do so much work, so much healing coming through as well. And I mean, I talked about the fact that in the late game, you have to value the power of a Seraphine over a Lulu, and I think that was the real reason why right there.
And, you know, for anyone's legend, hey, great credit to Tarzan. I think he played an excellent game from, you know, the mid-game fights onward, really making great things happen. For Shanks and Hope, you know, I have some worries. You know, I think the general consensus is that these are some really good players, but have yet to hit that elite status or have those moments that you're like, these guys can really carry a game. And there were opportunities for both of them to make big plays. And when the going got tough, they failed to do so.
It did. And right, that's the hallmark, really, of anyone's legend. Like, when the chips are down, have they been able to do it? And the story of their split one was, well, no. And unfortunately, it feels like that's still plaguing them here in this series. Yesterday, they did well enough to find themselves a 2-0, but here in this one, you can see LPL Gold Graph alert, but that they just weren't quite able to make it work and push it over the line.
Hope still outdamaged JiaQi somehow after JiaQi was rifling away at the end, but it doesn't matter because Creme was able to put in so much work. Zwayon, although the mid game was a little bit rough after, again, that maligned play that happened near the Dragon, still played a really good early game, and then that second to last fight up on the top side played it very well, just as distraction.
And that's all that really you're looking for is that little bit of a position to find an advantage in.
Look at these kill participations.
Yeah.
Look at how close they are on both sides, because it was 16-16 in kills. That's crazy. I thought for a second, I was reading it down. I'm like, there's no way it's the same on both sides. That damn Kael,
yeah,
just a little too good sometimes.
Because all of the fights, I mean, outside of that top lane, were 4v4s pretty much, right? Like, other than the fact that Xueyan found a couple of team or individual kills onto Flandre, that's about it. Tian on the Jarvan, he's farming KDA just by putting a flag down. Tarzan, honestly, to keep pace with the Jarvan is pretty impressive, but
oh yeah,
doesn't give you the win, unfortunately. No. And I mean, for anyone's legend here, a rough loss definitely, but Top Esports will be more than happy with that.
No doubt about it, Rududen. I mean, we had almost left Top Esports for dead. As we take a look at the highlights, I mean, you know, regardless of this game souring a little bit for Xueyan, came away with the win, put in so much work early. Again, we talked about this guy being really a tank player and a kind of player that is like, if conditions are good, he'll be fine. But he created some really good conditions for himself.
Yeah, he did. I mean, they say that you make your own luck, and in this game, Xueyan here, he made his fortune in this game, and
he was rolling nines.
Yeah, he was. He really was.
He learned from the best.
And then he went into the mid game, and then we started rolling some threes. And then in the late game, you know, a little sixer in there. Didn't really pop off. Didn't have a... Yeah, exactly. He did what he needed to.
Yeah, man, you know, I thought for a minute that he... You know, I thought this was like an anime for a second. I thought this was like My Hero, right? Where 369 had given him the power, and he certainly had the 3, the 6, and the 9 power in this game. That encore missing, I thought that this was where the game was really, all right, pack it up. AL win these, and even in this fight too, because I thought it was going to be so clean. Oh yeah.
Flandre actually does no damage to JiaQi Love, and then from there, I think if JiaQi lives there, it's actually a massively different fight. But I want to see this final team fight once again, just to see actually who needs the.
This was
benefit.
Killer.
Yeah, this felt like it should have been the end of the game.
Yeah, and this fight bothered me so much because conditions were so good on the bottom side for Xueyan to just continue to push and continue to work Flandre into the dirt. And I was thinking, man, all Top Esports have to do are just kind of like play back and stay away, and they got caught by the Ori Shockwave.
Hope gets caught by a flag and drag there. This is the... I mean, this doesn't even turn the game, to be honest. This is just a reprieve for Top Esports.
This is
it. And then this here, yeah. It just all goes wrong. Engage goes wide. Fengyue, are they caught in anything? Nope, it's just a 3-man. It's beautiful. And then into the Cataclysm afterwards as well. Doesn't matter that Tien, I mean, he lives, doesn't he? Yeah. But beautiful encore. Well spotted. Great angle.
Shanks didn't get the shockwave off there. He had the ball in them. Went QW. Most times you go QWR, but he got hit by that encore, and that was the difference. That extra second he took means that no shockwave came through, and it's an L for Top Esports. Dude, what a first game that was. We'll see if we have more left in the tank here. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we return, Game 2 of Top Esports and AL coming at you.